Nuclear disasters have always been a cause for concern due to their potential long-term impact on human health. As a result, numerous health studies have been conducted on nuclear disaster survivors to understand the health effects of exposure to radiation. These studies have provided valuable insights into the physical and mental health repercussions of such catastrophic events. Researchers have found that exposure to high levels of radiation can lead to an increased risk of developing various types of cancer, such as leukemia, thyroid cancer, and breast cancer. Furthermore, studies have also shown that survivors of nuclear disasters often experience higher levels of psychological distress, including anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder. Understanding these health effects is crucial for implementing effective long-term healthcare initiatives for survivors and establishing preventive measures for future nuclear emergency situations. Health effects of radiation exposure. Exposure to radiation from nuclear disasters can have far-reaching health effects on survivors. The immediate impact can include radiation burns, radiation sickness, and the increased risk of cancer. For example, the survivors of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombings experienced higher rates of leukemia, solid cancers, and other health issues due to radiation exposure. Furthermore, long-term studies have revealed an increased risk of thyroid cancer among individuals exposed to radiation from the Chernobyl disaster. These findings highlight the detrimental health consequences of radiation exposure in the aftermath of a nuclear catastrophe. Additionally, it has been observed that children exposed to radiation have a higher risk of developing thyroid cancer. Studies on survivors of the Fukushima nuclear disaster have also indicated an increased risk of mental health issues, including post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and depression, due to the stressful and uncertain circumstances they faced. These comprehensive health studies provide essential data for healthcare initiatives and underline the critical need for long-term monitoring and support for nuclear disaster survivors. Mental health studies. In addition to the physical health effects, researchers have also focused on the mental health implications for nuclear disaster survivors. The psychological toll of experiencing a nuclear disaster, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, anxiety, and depression, has been well documented in numerous health studies. For example, studies on survivors of the Chernobyl and Fukushima disasters have revealed high levels of psychological distress among the affected individuals, leading to long-lasting mental health challenges. Furthermore, researchers have found that the children exposed to radiation from the Chernobyl disaster had a significantly increased risk of developing mental health issues, demonstrating the intergenerational impact of nuclear disasters on the psychological well-being of survivors. These mental health implications are a crucial area of analysis, shedding light on the holistic effects of nuclear disasters on human health and emphasizing the need for comprehensive support and intervention strategies for the mental well-being of survivors. Intergenerational health studies. Another fascinating area of research involves intergenerational health studies on nuclear disaster survivors and their descendants. Researchers have investigated the potential genetic repercussions of radiation exposure, aiming to understand if there are hereditary health effects that can be passed down to subsequent generations. Studies on the children of atomic bomb survivors, commonly referred to as the hibakusha, and the offspring of individuals exposed to radiation from the Chernobyl disaster have provided valuable insights into the intergenerational health impact of nuclear disasters. For example, studies on the offspring of the survivors of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombings have shown an increased susceptibility to certain types of cancer due to the genetic impact of radiation exposure. Similarly, research on the descendants of the Chernobyl survivors has indicated an elevated risk of certain health issues, suggesting potential hereditary effects of radiation exposure. These intergenerational health studies play a pivotal role in understanding the long-term impact of nuclear disasters on future generations, highlighting the importance of continued monitoring and support for the descendants of nuclear disaster survivors. Conclusion. In conclusion, the health studies conducted on nuclear disaster survivors have significantly contributed to our understanding of the physical, mental, and intergenerational health effects of radiation exposure. These studies have underlined the immediate and long-term consequences of nuclear disasters on human health, emphasizing the importance of disaster preparedness, radiation monitoring, and ongoing medical surveillance for affected populations. The findings from these health studies continue to inform public health policies and contribute to the development of comprehensive strategies to mitigate the health risks associated with nuclear events. Moreover, the research has paved the way for the establishment of specific support and intervention programs focused on mental and physical well-being. These programs take into account both the immediate and intergenerational impact of nuclear disasters, ensuring that the survivors and their descendants receive the necessary care and attention. Additionally, ongoing monitoring and support initiatives for the descendants of nuclear disaster survivors are vital, as studies have shown potential hereditary effects of radiation exposure.